aware of this opportunity with Magnified Giving from another teacher, and when the opportunity presented itself, our honors English team took that opportunity and were like, yes, we just started learning about this idea called project-based learning, and this was several years ago. And I said, let's try to incorporate this opportunity with Magnified Giving and a PBL unit. And so we took our research standards and said, okay, let's have our students research what is philanthropy, what are these nonprofit organizations, and how can we incorporate this unit into our English curriculum.
And one thing I really loved about the whole process was the way it was introduced. So it was an assignment in English class, it was a presentation and a speech. And we started by watching a documentary on Roger Grind and his life. And that was just, I think the whole class would agree with me in saying it was just an amazing video, just a super inspirational story. And I remember, I don't think I'll ever forget it, at the end of the video, my teacher said, now what if you could do that? What if you could give an organization $1,000? And we're like, what? We could do that? No way! So that was pretty cool.
For our students, one of the best parts of Magnified Giving is how real it is for them. This is real money going to real organizations who are facing and fighting real issues in our community. And it's not a, hey, if you had this money, what would you do? This is you teenagers have this money and we want you to decide where it goes. We care about what you care about. And that's one thing we love the most about Roger Grind is that he trusts our youth. We work with them every day. We love them. They're our people. And he trusts them like we trust them to know really where these funds should be spent.
I advocated for Glad House to receive the grant because as I was looking through the long list, thousands of organizations on trying to pick one, I came across Glad House and I noticed that it worked a lot with kids. And I learned what an impact addiction can have on the kids whose parents are addicts. And so to me, just to know that there was a place that could help these kids out, I really connected with that.
The mission of Glad House is to improve the lives of children and families by breaking the cycle of addiction. So we work with children ages 5 to 12 years old that are presenting with mental health symptoms like anxiety and depression, but not yet presenting with issues of substance abuse. So we work with them pretty intensively to teach them social skills and skills to manage their stress in the hopes that they can live lives free of substances.
Well, both of my parents are drug addicts, so I've struggled with dealing with that a lot. And Glad House's mission statement is improving the lives of children and their families by breaking the cycle of addiction. And when I was younger, I never had anything like that. So knowing that there's an organization that can help kids that were just like me out, it just made me really, really happy that I could help them.
So Alissa demonstrated courage beyond almost any examples I've seen, and we've been doing this program for a long time at our school. Her personal connection was one of the deepest because it was a social issue that she had dealt with for all of her childhood, very firsthand, and continues to deal with to present day. And her speech really let her open up about that, where I wouldn't even consider her one of the most vocal and outgoing students, as she would say herself, but it gave her that courage to share because she knew that Glad House had the opportunity to help kids like her back when that was a big issue for her and her family. And I remember during her speech, she said that, I wish that we would have known about Glad House because had we, my family could have gotten the help that we needed. And I hope through my speech that more families will be able to get that help from Glad House.
It was, interacting with all these various students from Magnified Giving, it was amazing and it was energizing and, it just kind of bring goosebumps, just these kids, you kind of forget how old they were, some of their questions and how thoughtful they were. And you could tell as I was answering the questions, they would ask different questions. They were really invested and really wanted to get to know about the nonprofits. They took what they were doing very seriously, that if they were going to grant someone money, they wanted to make sure it was going to a good cause. And it was a really great experience to talk to them. And it didn't matter what school. I mean, these kids, came in prepared, to ask questions and to make sure that their money was going to the right place.
One of my favorite things was learning that Glad House was going to receive the grant because I wasn't aware at the time that I was not alone in advocating. So I thought, oh man, they're not gonna get any money. And then I realized Alissa was. And then Miss Mahaffey told me that they won, and I was so excited. It was just a great day.
I feel like it opened up a lot of people's eyes because I know like people in my grade, they kind of shun away from the fact that like about addiction or divorce or something like that, or they make it like a joke. But finally opening up, I saw a bunch of my classmates were like, whoa, like that's a real thing. Like there's people all around me that are affected by this, and they're starting to take it more seriously than they did before, which is good because it is a really serious thing. So it's just nice to see them grow.
Right, it definitely puts emphasis on the severity of the situation, and like you said, like making jokes about it and stuff, I think I saw a lot of that end after that day, which was awesome.
We were also able to have a program ourselves with Magnified Giving where our oldest kids group could participate to be able to do presentations for the first time. I mean, they had to be pretty vulnerable, and that's not easy for our population. You know, they've experienced a lot of abuse and neglect, so to get up in front of all of Glad House and present, you know, that they thought that this nonprofit was important, should be getting their money, and to talk and to answer questions. I mean, many of our kids are like, I've never done a presentation before, and we couldn't believe it because they did an amazing job. You know, they had to advocate for why they thought their nonprofit, you know, should get the money, and because the rest of Glad House got to vote to determine where the money went. And so it was a wonderful experience to see them be so brave, to stand up there and to say, this is important to me and I want it to be important to you too.
Before we had an opportunity with Magnified Giving, we had a research project in our English curriculum. And a lot of it was just the research aspect. But now we have this opportunity for students to use their time and use their talent. And a lot of them don't have the treasure. A lot of them don't have the money. But wow, to have donors giving to Magnified Giving so that the students can even out those pillars that the Magnified Giving stands on, what a great opportunity. So thank you to all of the donors that give our students this real life application opportunity at school.
Without you, where would we be? We wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be, we wouldn't have the funds to give help. We'd be in a very different place. So a million thank yous and more to all the donors.
Definitely.
The Magnified Giving program is a huge part of the next generation of philanthropists. And, you know, it's not just about the money, but talking with these kids about how they can use their time and their talents, you know, to advocate for nonprofits, to talk about nonprofits in their community. We had a group that was like, what can we do to help? You know, what do these kids need? I think it's really important that they learn philanthropy is not just about giving money. It's about, you know, being invested in the nonprofits, getting to know the nonprofits and figuring out how you can contribute to them, because we appreciate any way. And when young people, you know, come to you and say, what can we do to help? What can you do what do these kids need from us? That's just an amazing experience to have.